Come on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine podcast. We're hosted on Anchor.fm and we are streamed worldwide on whatever platform you use to stream your favorites. The gang is all here. My name is Nick, and just like they are every time we turn the microphones on, Andrew and Tristan are here as well. What's happening, guys?
Yeah, how's it going? We are now spread across the country officially.
Yeah, we are. Georgia, Kansas, and Andrew, you're.
I'm just
hunkering down at home.
Yeah, I'm where I've always been.
He's holding down home base while we're flung to every corner of the map, including
fancy
the center
lads
corner.
here.
Yeah, so we are truly a national podcast today.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm coming to you from the 14th floor of a hotel in Kansas City, waiting for a snowstorm to hopefully roll through before I leave to go on research tomorrow for work. But happy to be here with you guys nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'm in shorts and a t-shirt in my sister's spare bedroom in Georgia, so how different.
Lucky son of a bitch.
I can't help but notice, Tristan, that the room you're in is very appropriate for this podcast, as it is the right color.
It is. She insists on calling it the orange room. I'm gonna begin insisting that she call it the Check Engine podcast room.
That's good. In fairness to her, though, it is orange.
Two episodes have been recorded here. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You know what? As I said that, I was like, wait, I feel like we've done this before.
That could be like our satellite studio.
Yes, this is our southern unit.
How does she feel about getting a wall stencil?
Yeah, we should get a giant one.
Well, bring it up. She probably knows someone who could do it.
So do we. I'm sure Styled could do it.
Styled could do it. Claire could do it.
A big vinyl and then 3 fat heads of us.
Oh no, God! I dread to think.
Perish the thought.
Yeah, in my case, it'd be just fat, not head.
Well, I mean,
what? It just you wouldn't have a head?
No, it would just be too fat.
Then what does that make me?
That's their new brand. You have fat heads.
Fat. The same font. When the makers of Fat Head comes.
It's just regular people. The fat heads are the celebrities. Fat is just like a view.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic.
Like to run like a campaign, like you could submit a picture of yourself and have them do it. It'd be like #fat yourself.
Oh my God. Oh yes. I want this now.
We're not a vinyl wall cutout podcast.
We're not a fat podcast.
Well, I mean, that's not true.
Depending on how you spell fat.
That's right. Yeah.
But we are a car podcast, and we're known for, from time to time, attempting to fix things. And that is what we're going to try to do this evening. What are we trying to do tonight, Andrew? What's the purpose of our show?
Well, so here's the thing. I, as a man of great patience, have grown completely tired of just hearing anything that Mazda has to say. The brand Mazda, they keep doing this really annoying thing where they seem to just go on Jalopnik. They read the comments, which you never do. If you're going to go on Jalopnik, which you shouldn't do, don't read the comments. Then they just pick out whatever keyword is most common that week. So it's, you know what? Next Mazda 6, rear wheel drive. Next Mazda 6, inline 6. We're making V8. We're making whatever.
The rotary's coming back.
The next one will be electric.
Yeah. It's all bullshit. They're not going to do a thing. then they're trying to jump the brand up market, which I don't think is working. Essentially what they're doing is creating Honda Civics for $15,000 more. And I don't think that's going to last very long.
They're creating Acura Integra Type S's.
Well, okay. I mean, in fairness, you're not wrong, but enough. I say enough of that. Let's, I don't know the CEO Mazda, Dan Mazda. I don't know who it is.
Dan Mazda.
Probably not. It's a Japanese company, but that's not offensive.
There's the episode title, Dear Dan Mazda.
Dear Dan Mazda. Whoever it is.
Dear John Mazda.
Yeah. Whoever it is, you're not doing the right stuff. However, we have better ideas than what you're currently doing, which again is nothing.
Well,
maybe
it's got to be better than nothing when you start from zero, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, they could be actively harming things, which is my hypothesis.
Yes.
They could be doing actually less than nothing, which is what I think they are doing.
Yeah, that you make a good point. They might actually be harming themselves. That's actually the perfect place to start. To tell you what, I'll start. Because what I really need is a collaborative. I have the core of what needs to happen to Mazda. But I need help on the how, because there are just some things that I can't picture. So if I were to wake up or be offered the job of president of Mazda,
I'm just trying or be offered.
I'm just trying to think, because you wouldn't gain that as an overnight thing necessarily. But then if they were to offer you the job, would I take the job?
But let's say
possibilities, you did. Endless possibilities.
That's true.
Land of imagination. That's where we are today.
Imagination land, as South Park puts it.
Exactly. If we were in Imagination Land with Mazda, here's what I would do. The first thing is find a guy. And I know that I continually rag on this tactic when Tesla does it endlessly, but you need a guy in Mazda's position, just literally to be the face and a name. My thought is actually that maybe that guy should also be like the advertising power of the brand, but that might be better to be separate, because I want this guy, whoever he is, to be the public face of Mazda. The first thing that's happening, someone's giving a press conference to say, listen guys, here's what's going on. The Delta Wing, we're sorry. The diesel engine in prototype, we're sorry. The rotary, it's never coming back. The Miata, it's going to be electric.
Delta Wing was Nissan, by the way.
What?
Delta Wing was it Nissan powered. Yeah.
What was the Mazda? No, they just did the diesel engines in their cars. They went back and forth.
They did the diesel in a prototype a while back. Yeah.
Didn't they have one other silly like co-built car, or was that also a Nissan?
A lot of the wackier stuff was Nissan.
I think it was Nissan.
When they used to run
one other weird thing.
When they used to run the sixes in the old Grand Am days, it was a rotary that broke all the time.
I thought there was like one other like weird prototype hypercar area thing that was a Mazda, but it was probably a Nissan. They should still be sorry about that, about the Delta Wing. So anyways,
everyone should be sorry about the Delta Wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Look what you put Catherine Legg through. She didn't deserve that.
That's exactly right. Look how they massacred my boy.
Look what they've done to my boy.
So anyways, this guy, my Mazda guy, is just going to go out there and actually shoot straight with everybody. I mean, I guess you want to take a look at the inline six. Like, do you actually have an inline six? Is it ready to go into production? Because I think what Mazda needs, when Mazda was most commercially viable and successful, is when they were pretty much developing a couple things that were really, really good, and then farming the rest of it out to someone else, Ford. Maybe it's time to look at someone like Hyundai for a partnership for Mazda. But anyways, my guy's going to go out there and he's going to take all the blame. Then he's going to get on Twitter and say ridiculous shit all the time. Because we're going to be a now company. We're going to be a company for the social media age. We're going to Bitcoin. We're going to rip people off with crypto. Yeah, we're gonna blockchain Mazda coin. Hashtag buy it. We're just gonna have like a dickhead guy like that, and I think they could use that, some personality, something to grab onto.
So Mazda needs an Elon Musk, is what you're saying.
I would never use those words.
But I would say,
but over the course of the last 4 or 5 minutes, you did use those words in a roundabout way.
Here, let me save Andrew here. I don't know that anybody might get this reference. Maybe it won't save him because I don't know if anybody will get this reference but me. But Nick, especially if you've been tuned into business and marketing stuff for a long time, what they don't need is an Elon Musk. What they do need is a T-Mobile CEO, John Ledger. Spearheaded the entire uncarrier movement, said, wow, yeah, we were terrible, but check out all this cool stuff we're doing. Was a super aggressive social media personality, continually made fun of AT&T and Verizon on Twitter all the time. Like endless amounts of shit talking on social media while still being incredibly results focused. Drove the Sprint merger, drove a bunch of Spectrum acquisition for them, made them an actual competitor to those two. I'm more tied into it because I've been a T-Mobile customer through all of that. And he's since left. So it was, kind of exactly what I feel like you're talking about, Andrew, where it's like, get this personality just to get this brand jump started. And in every way, publicly on social media, internally, because he had a certain amount of that Steve Jobs no excuses attitude, I want this, make it happen. So internally results driven, externally super aggressive and present on social media. So like I said, if you Google some of his Twitter tirades in the past, you'll get what I'm saying.
Or like Richard Branson is another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying, see, if he's not he's available. Mazda.
That's Richard Branson is actually, that's right.
And so is John Ledger.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Ledger, not Branson. But yeah, if he's, hey, you doing anything? You want to come?
You want to come run? You want to come run Mazda?
Nothing. Fantastic. That's perfect. You're the guy.
Yeah, Musk didn't know, and he turned it into the most valuable car company in the world.
We want you.
So yeah, that's exactly right, Tristan. Yes, internally results focused, externally
take no prisoners.
Yeah, externally aggressive, I guess would be the
externally
the
aggressive
term.
And that was actually one of the things that I had thought about leading into this. I like what you said right up front, Andrew, be upfront about things, stop being bullshit artists.
And I think there's a certain amount of that with every car company.
Of course.
But the problem is that's all you get from Mazda.
Yeah, they don't deliver on anything they say.
They don't deliver on anything, and because that's all they're talking about, you're consistently reminded of that. Whenever you hear anything about Mazda, it's about how they're not doing something. You never hear about how, the CEO of Mazda went on some Twitter rager, and it has nothing to do with the product. Like, the only news you hear about Mazda is how they're not producing what they talked about. So, that's most of what Tesla does.
Yeah,
but
true.
No one talks about that because there's so many other things going on. Now, hopefully the goal would be positive things, which is the distinction we have to make here.
Yes, yes, that's true. Positive things.
Don't call someone trying to save people a pedophile, for example.
Yeah, just as a for instance. Yeah, not someone who's a loose cannon, someone who can actually create a following based on some results. Anyways, so that's the guy. That's my first step.
Yeah, and to your point about the inline six, sometimes it's okay to say we're working on it or we're trying, but we don't know yet. There's nothing wrong with that at times.
Sure.
Don't just say, yeah, we're doing it. Oh, we're doing it. We promise. And then nothing. It's okay to be you know what? Yeah, we're looking into it. We don't know yet. We're still vetting everything out.
I think it'd be great if we did it. Wouldn't that be cool?
Wouldn't it? And then you can do the business boilerplate of market demands and all that kind of stuff. And then, but at least you're not dealing in these absolutes.
Like a Sith.
That turn out to be bullshit. So that's something we can all agree on.
So, I think that's really important. You need a guy, you need a face, you need a person to represent the Mazda brand. I think the next thing you do is you call Honda and you say, what is it going to cost me to buy Eversley?
I want to own him.
The problem is with the factory prototype program not active anymore. There's no where would you race him?
It's partly in the racing and it's partly in the brand investment, which Honda also does not take advantage of.
Oh, totally.
Because
they try, but they don't really milk the most out of it.
They're not doing everything that they could, because Eversley, as we know, and as the world largely knows, everyone except for anyone in the Honda building, he's not just a race car driver. He has a personality. He has a media presence. He has thousands of dedicated followers that know he races, that understand he races, but never interface with racing in any capacity. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Ryan Eversley, the man, but you got to find someone like that. Who is it? How do you get to them? How can you get them not only on the track, but as the sales face of the brand? Now remember, Honda has tried to have a race car driver be a sales face for the brand. They just happen to pick the wrong one.
From time to time, yes.
Yeah. And that's something that you don't really see coming from brands right now. There's no one really representing brands outside of like Corvette or
but Corvette could
Corvette.
Corvette could do a much better job of that too. It's more,
of course,
it's more Jordan Taylor driving the Corvette story than the other way around. Like they are sitting on a gem, and they're not doing anything with it. Corvette,
and I think that maybe it's time to try the other way around, right? The way every brand does this is pick a celebrity, whoever it happens to be. Jason Bateman is a great example, because he just suddenly became the voice of Hyundai out of nowhere. And fantastic. Great. But why would you not want to try it the other way with a personality like a Jordan Taylor, like a Ryan Eversley, someone? Maybe it's a kid racing in MX-5 Cup right now.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a kid who was racing in MX-5 and just got jumped up. You know what I mean?
Find someone Cup graduate.
Right. Someone who knows how to play the game.
Mazda took him here or her here. What can Mazda do for you?
Make it a woman. Exactly. Find the next female racer in MX-5 and help her along in the Cup, and figure out what you're going to do to get a real Mazda in the next class and in the prototype class. So you go back to that in a way that makes sense. No diesels, so that you have a path for someone to be at the top of motorsport and in front of people selling your cars with an investment in who they are and their own platform outside of the brand, quote unquote.
And here's, I don't want to cut off your core, but that segued perfectly into my core of what I think they should do to fix Mazda. And you kind of hinted at it early on that personally, I think this upscale move has been a mistake. I think, and they're not immune to it either. I think that, to a certain extent, because Hyundai and Kia are the same parent company and Genesis, anytime Kia tries to move up market, it's not a great idea. Whether the cars sell or not, I think it's distracting. And I think that I know that Mazda doesn't have a corporate sibling luxury division. That's okay. To me, and maybe this is just because it's the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia, but to me, I feel like when you heard the most about Mazda was when we were in late middle school and high school, early 2000s. When they were at least most common. There's obviously older Mazdas that are, the Mazdas of legend, etc., etc. But during that time, Mazdas are being driven by young people.
Yes.
And so I think Mazda could potentially, with some of the racing background that they have with the MX-5 and prototypes going back and that kind of thing, slot themselves into what Honda's trying to do. I think Honda has a lot of motorsport presence in IndyCar and other places, but I think that the racing lineage, it's like, what do they say? It's like on any given weekend, more MX-5s are racing than anything else.
More Mazdas
Exactly that.
are
Yeah.
racing
More Mazdas,
than any
yeah.
other brand.
Exactly.
So take that and make it the sporty young people's brand. And I know that it seems like a huge gamble because everybody always wants to move up market and older because that's where all the money is. But because
Yeah,
everyone's
see what Scion did, or Toyota did with Scion. They tried.
Yeah.
They tried.
Yep. And I think that Scion didn't necessarily have a losing formula. It was just implemented poorly. There were
And
a
they
lot
accidentally made cars that old people liked more than young people.
Yeah. I think there were technical issues with how they were selling them, and then the unhappy accident that they accidentally made, the XB a fabulous car for older people because you didn't have to bend over to get in it. It was great. I mean, I've been injured and rode in an XB and was like, oh man, it's nice not to have to crawl into this thing. Like, I get it, right? So, but I think that back in the days of, and not that they don't have to recreate the exact cars, but get the same feeling as, I still to this day distinctly remember somebody that I didn't have a significant friendship with or anything else. He was in a single class of mine, and we did a project together, and he drove a Mazda Protege with a manual in it. And I still remember that car.
Right.
Like, and I remember him because I remember that car. And it's something that small, sporty, fun, efficient, relatively quick car. And I think it's a lot of what Hyundai and Kia are doing as like a happy accident of more or less the company that they're the country that they're from. It's something that Asian cars in general tend to do this better than a lot of American car brands, things like that. But exercise that racing lineage, that sporting lineage, and make it fun and affordable. I mean, we're always talking about how does car culture continue, and that's how.
Yep.
I mean, there's a tuner market where you can take anything and make it fun. Like a Toyota Avalon, run it through the tuner ringer, and it's fun, right? But it's nice to have something that starts that way. And as much as I would kind of give them a little bit of guff for some of their recent things, Volkswagen more or less still is that. They have made a couple ventures into the rarefied air with the Phaeton and the Arteon and a few others, but they mostly kind of specialize in not super expensive, fun cars that in their marketing lingo leverage their quote unquote German engineering. Leveraging Japanese engineering isn't new. You've already got Toyota and Honda, but
Right.
but leveraging their racing heritage or their race engineering or whatever, and making that a signature. That was kind of the core of my idea, where moving down market, I think, is the key for Mazda, because they're competing against dedicated luxury brands where they have to have everything from the cheap Mazda 3 to something expensive. Don't fight that battle. Let them try to eat each other's lunch up there on their own. Meanwhile, take this, I think, relatively underserved market. I think you would have, I think there would be an excellent three-way battle between Kia / Hyundai, depending on the model, Mazda, and Volkswagen. I think that would make an excellent, younger people's, more conservative budget,
shout your
fun
brand type of situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of those brands are, loud and in your face, and for younger people, so much so that they ingratiate themselves so much when they're younger, when their customers are younger, that they keep buying them when they're older, when they could go buy an Audi, a Lexus, whatever. They keep buying Volkswagens because, as I mentioned, even with me, that nostalgia factor is strong. So
I think so. You make a lot of really good points there. One of them with the moving downstream, fun, affordable. Like, it's like we talked to each other about this before we turned the microphones on, because it's something I was going to talk about. So a couple of points here. One, when you're talking about, they're kind of sitting above the Hyundai Kias, the Hondas of the world. I have a theory as to why. I feel like it's just because if they compete at those prices, if they go down a little bit into the Honda, cheap Toyota, Volkswagen realm, now you're competing. Mazda's a pretty small independent company. Now you're competing against three industry giants, and I don't think they want that fight. But the problem is where they're sitting is that whether you're shopping for those cheap Hondas or whether you're going to the Lexus, Acura, Genesis route, you don't shop a Mazda alongside of it. Like, there's no comparison. Like,
sure.
So even if, another kind of weird option would be to go upmarket and make it more of a luxury thing and go into the Genesis realm. But now at least if I'm going to a dealership and I have this budget in mind and I see, okay, Genesis GV7 or G70 is around this. Oh, or a Mazda 6. The other way, at least there's that comparison. I want a Civic, a base Civic, or there's this Mazda 3. Right now, there's no or. Like, you have to just be shopping for a Mazda because it just kind of sits by itself.
Or you say, I want a Civic, but I want to pay more.
Yeah, exactly. So, and my other bullet point that I had down here really aligns with what Tristan was talking about going down market. He mentioned the phrase more Mazdas are raced on any given weekend than any other brand. Why is that?
Well,
it's accessibility, right?
Yeah, and the power of what used to be Skip Barber.
Well, they're cheap. They're everywhere.
And that's why Skip Barber chose them.
It goes, which now runs Civics.
Well, the less said about that, the better.
But from your amateur endurance racing, like World Racing League or Champ Car, to Spec Miata, Spec MX-5, all the way up to the IMSA sanctioned MX-5 Cup, which is like a legitimate one make series on like the road to Le Mans or road to Daytona with like a scholarship to win it. Like, even those cars, relatively speaking, for a race car is cheap. The top of the line new MX-5s are like $50,000 ready to race. If you like, I follow some of these race car for sale pages on social media, and you can pick up a spec MX-5 car for like $9,000. If I sold all my karting equipment, I'd almost be there. Like, so why not make that accessibility translate to the road car? Like, why not carry that same message down? If it's so accessible to race a Miata, why is it not that accessible to buy a street going version?
Yeah.
So and I think the Miata runs into the problem of they're one of the few products in their lineup that they can sell a ton of them. So they've got a bunch of markups. If they can get the whole line, if they can get more volume, they can rely on slimmer margins and make those cars more approachable. Mm-hmm. And it might be something that they have to take a gamble on that and start selling better cars for less money, and seeing if that starts selling them cars.
And I'm looking at the website here, and like the Mazda 6 says starting at $24,475. So that's the base model, is in line just about to what my mom paid for the Kia K5 GT line.
Yep.
Like, that's a step up. That's not their base, and it's about the same as a base Mazda 6. So, like, is there a way you can pull that down? Like, pull that base down $2,000 to $3,000 across all their models? Just to, can the CX-30 crossover, can the 3 sedan come in at base at the 18-19 range instead of 22? I would think
they probably could. Like, they're not. These cars don't have the killer feature. You know what I mean? They're not like they're not really that special.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
there's
Like,
no
think of all the
cachet to them
stuff that the
either.
K5 GT has for about $1,000 more than a base 6. Like,
That's true.
it's insane.
Well, actually, to go back briefly, Nick, you were saying that Mazda may not want the fight with 3 mega brands. Well, it used to be 2, and Hyundai was the upstart.
And now they're firmly entrenched in there. You're right.
Yeah, I think that's an underestimated market consistently.
Not that Hyundai or not that Mazda would be an upstart if they were to do this, but they're, I mean, just looking for stuff for this episode, everything just seemed so lazy. Like, their sites were not updated and their press releases are weird. One of the things I pulled up here was their announcement that they killed off Mazda Speed, right? And the quote is, "It is our priority to continue to evolve the next generation of Skyactiv technologies. We are refining and applying our turbocharged engines to more models to provide better, stronger performance with engaging driving dynamics." It doesn't mean anything. Fine, whatever. But there's just no, and of course they killed off Mazda Speed in, I guess it was only 2020, so it's fairly recently. That makes it look worse. So what I was going to say is, it's almost like they didn't have an awareness of the fact that people who like luxury cars actually like really fast luxury cars.
Yeah, like imagine a Mazda Speed 6 GT.
Or I mean, there's
I mean, it would be $100,000 because they can't price things, but still.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's the whole thing, right? All of these luxury car brands have the fast version. They have
Kia
the hot
Stinger.
one. Yeah. And it just seems so weird. I mean, maybe you don't want to call that a Mazda Speed, right? So invent a new name. Sky Performance. So, but they had the whole Sky thing going for like a decade. And it just all seems so lazy coming from them. Anyways. Yes, we addressed the racing thing. I think that's really important. One thing I can't tell from the actual Mazda racing website is whether or not they actually still race the Mazda prototypes.
No.
I don't think they do, but they're here on the website. It's like, what are you doing, guys?
No, and there's no indication that they are coming back to the new LMDH platform in IMSA that kicks off, I think, next season. Yeah. So really all they have is the MX-5, and that's saying a lot. That's a full field of about 40 little Miatas running around.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I pulled it up too, and there's video footage. I guess, honoring the past. I don't know, but and remember they were going to make a 3 TCR, and then
they were going to make a 3 TCR. Mm-hmm.
Like, they had a driver's sign and everything. Like, that was going to be a big deal, and then it just axed right at the last second.
That's nonsense. Speaking of the past, the other thing that my I guess CEO guy is going to do is going to be like, "Hey, you're not seeing the 787B for 20 years. Get your last look. We're throwing that shit away. I don't want to see it. I don't care. I don't care about 4-barrel rotary engines. It's over. It's done. No more 787s.
We're putting it in a storage container and locking it up.
It's going in the Disney vault. You're never seeing this shit again. We're not even making an orange or green car. It's over." I'm so sick of it. Don't do what Mazda's doing and then continually trot that piece of shit out like it means something. You have no racing division at the top level of motorsport. You have no performance cars. You're sky activating your way into an early grave for cars that cost $7,000 more than they should. Knock it off.
And the rant comes out. There we go.
I'm wrong?
No, you're fine.
Also, remember the Mazda Fury?
Tell me I'm wrong?
Fury.
No, you're right.
Fury.
It's cool it happened. You can be very proud of it. Put it in a museum, but like It has nothing to do with who you are as a company today. Absolutely nothing.
But they want it. That's what I resent so much. That's the image they want to have. They want to say, look at what it is that we make. And that was in 1992.
Yeah, that's not what you make anymore. It's not even close. So, I've got a suggestion here. I want you guys to Google something for me here as I kind of tee this up.
Okay.
So Google Mazda BT50. Mazda BT50. So I'm looking at their lineup. They do have a lot of crossovers. They have small SUVs. They only have a couple of sedans. They have the one sports car. What they don't have is a truck. Pickup trucks are still really hot. They're going to be hot. They're not going anywhere for a long time. This BT50 is on sale in Australia with the turbo diesel. It's got the same design language as the rest of their lineup. That's all taken care of. They could move the steering wheel to the left side, drop in the turbocharged 4 that's in the Miata, the 6, the 3, produces about 250 horsepower, and release this thing back in the US, and it falls right in line somewhere in and around between the Maverick and the Ranger.
I actually really like this.
You can specifically market it against the Maverick because there is no other truck in the US market right now that's that small.
And yes, or that large as compared to the whatchamacallit, the Santa Cruz.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's either smaller or larger than its competition.
Also,
depending on what you want.
This isn't a Suzu, by the way, that Mazda truck.
Yes, it is. It has a Suzu underpinnings.
Well, actually, if you look, I clicked on the Wikipedia page and it was like, oh, it's just wearing a small mask. They look really similar. They look like crazy similar. But anyways, I think that that's a fantastic idea because clearly maybe I shouldn't say the word clearly for this. If what Ford tells us about the Maverick is any indication, who knows? It's selling well. Like this small truck thing is working. I actually see a couple Mavericks and some Santa Cruzes usually when I'm on my way to work.
I've seen 2 Mavericks and a Santa Cruz in the past month. They're starting to pop up. And like I said, at least in that Maverick range, I guess the Santa Cruz can be kind of lumped in there, but that's super tiny.
Mm-hmm. It's really, really small.
That small truck thing is kind of untapped. Like most people don't go below a Ranger or a Colorado. So it's not like you'd have a ton of competition in this space. And this one, from what I can tell, would sit like right in between a Maverick and a Ranger. It's like a Mazda specialty. You kind of sit right in between things. Not necessarily a direct competitor to anything. But, I don't think it looks too terrible. I've always said that, like Mazda, it doesn't like jump off of the screen or into your eyeballs when you see it on the road like like an EV6 or like what Volvo's been doing lately or Genesis. But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. It looks fine. I think there's a really good potential for something like that.
Well, I think this is a great idea. And so my next thought was, hey, Mazda also has a fabulous tradition of taking other people's SUVs, Fords in the past, and making them, really kind of like cult icons with their rebadged Ford pickup and their rebadged Ford Escape. I'm forgetting. It's escaping me. Mazda had
see what you did there.
Oh, that's funny. The Mazda had a rebadged Ford Escape, and I can't remember what the heck the name of it was.
A Tribute.
Yes, the Tribute. Yeah. So Isuzu, the company that they've stolen the truck from, also makes a SUV, and it looks pretty cool. But it's called the MUX, Isuzu MUX, MU-X. But the problem is, Isuzu claims that the MU-X is a acronym for makes you exciting.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Better than makes you excited.
Very narrowly avoided something there.
Makes you exciting.
It makes us dash exciting.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
are we supposed to pause for effect? It makes
Yeah, I was saying
you
it's a
exciting.
pause.
makes you exciting.
Funny thing
so
when you go through the Wikipedia article on this truck, the
it actually looks really good.
the
Which one? The
Mazda.
Mazda?
No, the MUX.
Oh,
It's
the Mux looks pretty nice.
the Mux. If you look at the Mazda, actually the BT50, the previous generation was based on the current Ranger.
Yes. Correct.
That tells you that it took 8 years for the Ranger to get here,
That's brutal.
that means it's brand new when 2019 when it came out or was announced, 2019 model year, it was already an 8-year-old truck.
Correct. That's insane. Yeah. The interior of this Mazda truck is sick, by the way.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. And it's got a wiggle stick. Manual transmission.
Yes. Have you seen my wiggle stick?
There's the episode title.
That I actually think that's a great idea. I would love to see some Mazda trucks again. And can you imagine, even if they did something as foolhardy as keeping their cars in this premium tier they've established? What if they bring a truck and an SUV in, revised SUV, not their own creation, as base models, essentially, as their not loss leaders necessarily, but if they have a small truck sitting on a lot for the cost of a Mazda 3, or they still make the Mazda 2?
Oh, they were talking about in this article about how a bunch of the driver assist technology is specifically designed to allow the installation of off-road accessories, bumpers and winches and stuff, because it doesn't use radar. It uses, like my Subaru, it uses cameras in the windshield.
Yeah.
So like bring it over with a whole bunch of accessories. Like talk to ARB and get dealer installed accessories. Front brush bar, roof rack, winch. Get a dealer installed off-road package as an option.
Everything.
It's but sell the base one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like bring it over manufactured as the base and sell the dealer upgrades for people who want them. And for the guy who builds cabinets and just needs a truck, sell him a white truck with nothing on it. Like, do all those things.
Actually, it's interesting. Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up as a sales tactic, because I was getting my oil changed at the dealership the other day and was taking a little poke around the lot to see the Santa Cruzes, and they had only the base model one. So it's still the 2.5, but not the turbocharged, not the N version, the base 2.5. They had 3 on the lot, and it took me a while to realize they were all the same, except one had all of the aftermarket stuff on it. They were all the same exact truck, and there were also 2 were 30,000, basically the SEL base package, which is so all-wheel drive with a 2.5 and nothing else, and one was 34 because of all of the accessories you can get for it. And I was like, oh, that's actually really smart.
Well, and it simplifies, just from a business standpoint, it simplifies, like, we're going to produce and ship one, maybe 2 models of this truck, a base model and one with leather seats. And then, just stock the dealers with a bunch of accessories and say, kind of the Scion thing, but targeted, and be like, hey, it's not going to be every Mazda gets, an 80 page catalog, but, take this truck and make it yours. It's a blank canvas. Don't change it to be what you want it to be. Make it what you want it to be from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And, here's all this cool stuff that we worked with big name partners, say, hey, dealer installed Old Man Emu suspension, Warren winches, ARB bumpers, Yakima or Thule rack systems, like, make that your margin, but put an investment in it with good partners.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, guys, I just went on to the Mazda Australia website. They They're still using the tagline "Zoom Zoom" down there. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Man.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yep. Wow. I mean, that would be better than what they got now. Bring Zoom Zoom back for crying out loud.
What do they have now?
I don't even know. That's the problem.
So I'm reading the spec sheet for the BT50. Just out of pure curiosity, like what are we actually talking about here?
It's a turbo diesel in Australia.
It is. I'm trying to do math in my head. 3,500 kilograms is. Wait, that's not accurate. It couldn't have a 7,000 pound towing capacity.
I mean, it might.
You're converting it the other way, I think.
No. If it's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. Yeah,
it's actually almost 8,000 pounds.
Shit,
mine's 3,500.
Wow,
it's not a truck. So
that's true. And this is a diesel engine.
Yeah,
this is a diesel engine,
and it's not the United States. So you can tow 5,000 pounds with a smart car in Europe. So
that's also a very good point.
Very true.
But I mean, so it's got some. So diesel engine is like 330 foot-pounds of torque, and then 2,000 pound bed with 7,500 pound towing capacity. That's like a truck. That's all right. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
It is a man's truck.
Deserves a commercial with a strong bass line in it.
Or Sam Elliott.
I even love their name for like their current off-road package appears to be called the High Racer. That's cool.
Love it.
I like that a lot.
Let's bring it here. People will eat that shit up.
I mean, apparently that's all we're hearing about, right? Trucks. Everyone wants a truck. Everyone's buying a truck. Yeah.
That's like you've got the. I mean, yes, there's going to be some cost and things to, switch everything over to the left side drive.
Mm-hmm.
But in essence, you've probably got what 75-80% of that tooling all ready to go.
Well, according to this article here, yeah, you'd have to switch the driveline, but Mazda has no part in the manufacturing of that pickup truck. They just get them from Isuzu.
Well, then call your buddies at Isuzu.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to do anything. They just have to work out the business deal.
Call Billy Isuzu and tell him to make these for the U.S. market for us.
By the way, BT50 Thunder, guys.
Ooh.
Search that.
Oh, search it? Okay.
That's not me. That exists already.
BT50. This is
and
thrilling content, by the way.
Tell me everybody in Colorado would not buy one of those.
No. Because so now we're going to describe. Oh, shit. That looks sick.
I want one of those.
Whoa. All right. When I get back from my work trip, we'll definitely post some pictures of some of this stuff for people.
It looks like the, oh gosh, what was the name of the package that had all this stuff for the Colorado? The
ZR2?
ZR2. It looks exactly like the ZR2.
This looks awesome.
Oh, that is so cool. That is super cool. Come on, this would work, right? This would work in America.
They would be so stoked for Moab.
Oh, we'd be all going to Moab. Wait, did they calling this a Ute?
Yeah, I guess what they call any pickup truck, really.
Oh.
I
thought a Ute was specifically like car in the front, party in your rear.
Our third episode title?
I'm serious. This thing looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, I would buy one of these. I would consider paying the taxes on one of these.
Yeah, right.
Paying the import on it.
And by the way, it comes with an obnoxious dickbag light bar in the front grille, so you're set there.
Their headlights might be half as bright as mine.
Maybe.
By the way, related to that, I had
Did you see the skid plate underneath with the BT50 stamped in it?
Yes.
This whole thing is sick as hell.
We got to get pictures up of this.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I went to the eye doctor today for the annual checkup, and on the list, like they make you fill out this thing that's like, "Are you having any of these symptoms lately?" And one of them is increased sensitivity to lights at night. So I'm like, honestly, yeah, but I think it's just that the lights are literally brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because based on the number of people who tell me to dim my low beams, it's not
Yeah.
just you.
This the doctor, he goes, "Oh yeah, I get that all the time when I'm driving the Land Rover." I'm just like, "All right, man. All right, okay,
Oh,
I
subtle
got you."
flex. Fuck you.
It's like, all right, calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so do
happy
I
that
when I'm driving the Outback. It doesn't make you special, bub.
so happy that y'all can see 92 miles in front of you. Meantime, I can't see anything for the next
Thing is,
34
mine's
hours.
not even
Exactly.
that high. It doesn't give me that
No.
much of an advantage. It's like
It
they
is
could
just
be
the
less bright.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So do we have anything else to fix Mazda, or can we kind of wrap this one up?
I was just gonna say I actually kind of want this BT50 Thunder. That is unironically one of the coolest vehicles I've ever seen.
Wow.
Australians, man, I'll tell you, I love it.
Tell me I'm wrong. This thing looks incredible.
You're not wrong. I'm just saying it takes a lot for you to get
To admit to your low T and be excited about a truck.
to
I
get
say
that
I have low
excited
T all
about
the time.
anything, any sort of vehicle. That's all I'm saying. That's where the surprise is
That's
coming
true.
from.
It
I
really,
agree
really
with your
looks great.
assessment, but
Yeah,
you just don't do that often. That's all.
true. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we need this now. Now knowing this, I did not know the existence of this, the Thunder specifically. Now that I do know that it exists, what are they doing in this country? Just close the brand. If you're going to give us this, close the brand in America then, Mazda. If you're not going to do anything interesting, if you're not going to offer us anything exciting, if you're not doing Mazda Speed or fancy trucks, or just close it. We're done. You don't need to be here.
Last hypothetical. Let's say they make an SUV. What do they make it, knowing that they can't have lightning? That's a Ford thing.
Right.
What do they call the equivalent tier SUV?
Let's see. Thunder, weather,
Typhoon.
typhoon. I was gonna go like earthquake if it was like a big one, like
But
a big SUV.
no, that's something that's a Ford thing as well. No, Tremor.
Yeah.
is a Ford thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go the other way. Volcano eruption. No, that's sexy.
Sexy.
Too sexy.
What's another one of those super high mountains? You know, we've got Everest. We've got
We've got a lot of
call it
mountain
the K2.
action. Ugh. Natural disasters.
Oh god. The new Mazda brush fire.
Oh, hey, what do you know? Academics count the Mazda COVID.
Oh god. The Mazda pandemic.
Mazda drought.
Too negative.
That is true. Dust storm. Okay, this isn't helpful. But it would have to be. Maybe they go with something kind of different and bring back like cloud names. Remember how Chrysler used to do that?
I mean, the Cumulus.
Cirrus, the Chrysler one.
I guess they did use all of them. Nimbus is, I think, the only one they didn't use.
That's a Harry Potter thing. That'll set those people off.
Yeah. And Cumulonimbus is just too long. It won't even fit in the rear deck.
Yeah. They did Stratus, Cirrus.
Oh, Thunderhead.
Thunder and Thunderhead.
That's good. I like that. That's really good. Yes, absolutely.
You could rename them both into a matching pair and leave the nameplate for the other market and just keep the truck the same. And call them another pair of cool things. Hammer and Anvil, or no, that's not a great name. But hold
on
an
now. That's actually kind of cool. Although you probably have to have that as like the core name. Yeah.
Anyways. What do you think, listeners? What should Mazda name their off-road performance line if it were ever to come here? Knowing that they already have Thunder in Australia.
Correct. can
Do
have
you
that.
do you match Thunder in some way, or do you scrap it and make a new cool pair of names?
Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about this, our entire list of demands for Mazda here.
I think it just turned into a rant against how Mazda sucks, but that's fine.
Well, yeah, because we're fixing it.
That's true.
That's the point.
You have to point out the flaws and accept them to begin improvement, Andrew.
That's true. That's actually very true.
Deep
Well, look,
thoughts, TM.
It's not all terrible for Mazda. Look, they were I think Consumer Reports last year, they were rated as the best used cars on the market. Generally, all their new cars are very highly reviewed. Car and Driver fucking loves Mazda. Like the CX-30 actually got a 10 out of 10.
Can I say this?
Perfect review on a CX-30.
But I feel like the way Car and Driver treats Mazda is, do you guys remember the short-lived, very stupid meme they did, surgery on a grape?
No.
But I've done surgery on a grape.
It was literally
you?
just a stupid meme, or Thanos car. You remember Thanos car?
No.
It was literally just an image of Thanos car or a grape with the top text and bottom text both reading, they did surgery on a grape. I just feel like it's the same thing. It's like they put all-wheel drive on a Mazda. Fantastic. Like, I don't care. Because, they put the all-wheel drive in the Mazda 3.
Yeah.
And the amount of enabling that not just Car and Driver, but all the reviews did when they were comparing. So they did like Mazda 3 all-wheel drive, and at that point it would have been Veloster N or whatever. They did like those weird comparisons that don't really match up. They're like Civic Si and Mazda 3 all-wheel drive. And they're like, oh, but it all-wheel drive. Like it handles well. It feels very planted. It's grounded to the ground. It's like, you don't have to do this, You can just say it's slower and worse. I don't know.
So let's recap. We're going to go get a guy. And then we're going to go get another guy. We need two guys.
We need two guys.
We need a CEO guy who's proficient on Twitter.
Yep.
And then we need another ambassador guy, maybe a race driver, Eversley Jordan Taylor type. But in order to do that, there actually needs to be a plan to put them on the track somehow.
And they possibly also need not a guy.
Right, yeah.
Possibly a girl, yes.
That racing personality has to be able to be relatable.
CEO too, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
A person. We'll say a person.
Absolutely.
We need two cool people.
Mm-hmm.
We need two cool people.
To take charge of the brand, not only in America, but internationally. They need to be lightning rods in the positive sense. They need to be draws for the eyes, for the attention, and they need to be able to give something that Mazda sorely lacks, which is a personality of any kind.
Yeah. So we need two cool people.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go downstream with the pricing for lots of reasons to capture the young cool market and also align with their everybody can drive a Mazda on the racetrack slogan.
Yep.
And just make that more of a seamless transition in the eyes of the market. And then we need the BT50 and BT50 Thunder to come stateside ASAP.
Absolutely.
Did we miss anything? Did I miss anything in the recap?
No, I don't think so. I think
that's it.
Yeah.
Listeners, did we miss anything? Are we completely off base with Mazda?
Are they doing a great job?
Please, someone come tell us why Mazda's doing fantastic. I would love to hear these. I hope we get that in the coming few days here after we launch this episode. Like, someone be like, Mazda's amazing, and here's why. And just like, bam, bam, list them out. I think I can't wait to read that.
Because maybe we missed something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we'll take the feedback. Well, I mean, Tristan and I will. Andrew maybe not, but we'll take two of the three of us at least. We'll take the feedback.
He won't, but it's fine.
I'll consider it.
Then reject it out of hand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we think we fixed Mazda, let's get the hell out of here. First, if you want to tell us how good or bad we did on this episode, you can find us on social media to do so. Look us up on Facebook by searching Check Engine Podcast. Andrew, where can they find us in the Twitterverse?
At Check Engine Pod.
Tristan, where can they find us on the gram?
At Check Engine Pod.
So tell us about your thoughts on Mazda on this episode. Like, share, DM, comment, reach out how and when you can. We don't just want to preach at you. We want to interact with you. That's kind of the whole point of why we're doing this thing. It's a car culture thing. Let's get together and talk cars. And we want to do that with you. Also, I'd like to remind you that on whatever platform you're listening to us on right now, go ahead and click that subscribe button and or leave a review. Both things are free, and they don't take that much time to do. Just a couple of clicks and you're done. And it really helps us out with the giant algorithm that's out there. If you're really into what we're doing and you want to help us out monetarily, anchor.fm/Check Engine Podcast. There is a support button there. And then we also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Check Engine Podcast. Everything you pledge, we will eventually use to make this a better experience for you, the listener. None of it comes back into our personal pockets. Any shout outs, gentlemen, before we turn the microphones off?
Shout out the sick Mazda Thunder. This is like the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Shout out Mazda Australia.
Yeah, no, it's seriously like the coolest car I've seen in a long time.
Mazda Australia, keeping the zoom alive.
And yeah, zoom. Not letting that die.
It's so good. It's perfect. I love it.
Tristan?
I'm going to do a combination thank you and teaser trailer for a story we will have for our next episode.
Oh, look at Tristan planting seeds.
I see.
Shout out to Chatham Parkway Subaru in Savannah, Georgia. And you'll find out why next time.
Savannah, Georgia.
All right. I would like to shout out the Classic Cup in downtown Kansas City for what may have been the greatest cinnamon roll ever made.
Wow.
Oh, you're killing me.
Bold claims.
That's my favorite thing in the world. People think it's chicken tenders, but it's cinnamon rolls.
You didn't even mail him one.
Classic Cup, downtown Kansas City in the Plaza District. That's what they call it around here. My colleague who I'm here with used to actually live here when he was like a field sales rep. So he's kind of taking me around to all of his local hangs from when he was living downtown Kansas City. And he's like, we got to go to the Classic Cup, best breakfast ever. And on the menu, it says colossal cinnamon roll.
Wow.
And
always a good start.
How colossal are we talking? It was like the size of my face and about this thick. And I know people can't see it. 3-4 inches thick. And thick. Just amazing. Amazing. It was like 54,000 calories, I'm convinced. But totally worth it. Totally worth it. So shout out to Classic Cup, downtown Kansas City. And shout out to you listeners. We love recording this for you. We love hearing from you. We cannot wait to do this again. But until we do, take care of yourself.